What is up, guys? I hope you're all doing fantastic. I'm doing pretty well myself. In this video, I want to talk about 10 players that are already established NHL players, but I think they will explode next year. When I mean explode, I'm really talking about point totals here only, because I think their role will increase within their own organization, and just overall, I think they could be great fantasy pickup. Later than you might think, that they will still be available, and then there will be huge returns for you guys in this coming up year. So without further ado, let's start with number 10. Now I said number 10, but to be honest with you guys, there's no list, there's no order between those 10 players. I just had a list of 10 players. I look at their stats, I look at their potential role next year, I look at their overall progression, and just took 10 players that I really think will explode next year. Might be surprising, the first player I want to talk to you about is Duchene. He had 59 points in 82 games between the both organizations he played with last year. That's nothing to scoff at. But one thing I realized is that he finished the year really strong. Even though Ottawa finished on the downhill, Duchene had around a point per game for the last 40 games of the season. So I think 59 points is really low for him. And even though Ottawa will not necessarily be better next year, and I don't know what's going to happen with Erik Karlsson, but I think no matter what, Duchene will be able to be that 75-point guy. So yes, I think we'll have over a 15-point increase next year, because I think he's that good. Yes, Karlsson is a big question mark, but I think with guys like Thomas Chabot, Mark Stone, and maybe even Brady Tkachuk playing a role next year, I think Duchene will still find a way to get to 75 points. Now that may sound crazy, but I really believe it, and the fact that he posted a point per game for the last 40 games really helped his case here. The next player I want to talk about is Jonathan Drouin. Now, of course, I'm from Montreal, so it's easy to pick a guy from Montreal, but just hear me out for a quick sec. I mean, 46 points in 77 games, that's nothing compared to the actual level of skill set of a guy like Jonathan Drouin. If I think he can move on the wing next year, because let's be honest, he's not a natural centerman, then his point total could be around the 65-point range. His passing abilities are amazing. His skating abilities are amazing. He's got quick hands, quick feet. He's got everything to be a decent playmaker in the NHL. So I think if everything goes well, even if Max Pacioretty is gone, I think he can find a way to 65 points. Now those two first players, I'm gonna admit it, they're a bit of a long shot, but I really believe in their overall potential to grow next year. The third player I want to talk to you about is one player that I feel really comfortable with, and that is Zibanejad. I think he will be the established #1 center, and I think the competition with Anderson and Guentzel coming up next year will just make him realize that it's his time to shine, and he'll be a 70-point guy next year. Yes, he only had 47 points if not mistaken. Still, I think he can grow to a 75. Maybe not 75, but 70 points, really give or take around that area, because he's that good of a player. And what really popped my eyes about this guy is when I watched him play for Sweden, in this past World Championship. He was legit amazing. It was really, I think he was one of the best players on the ice in that whole tournament, with a guy like Sebastian Aho and Drouin that also tore it up, and Patrick Kane had a great tournament as well. But I think he was top 5 for sure, and that tournament really made me realize that, you know what, Zibanejad, even though his skating ability might be sluggish sometimes, I mean, I've seen a few experts argue the way he skates, but I think that doesn't change the fact that he's going to be elite, and 70 points is definitely in the range for him next year. Fourth player I want to talk to you about is Elias Lindholm. Just traded to the Calgary Flames organization. Now, there's a big question mark of who's going to play with Gaudreau and Monahan next year. There's a lot of rumors that Tkachuk will have a go at it. It's been said within the organization, that the first shot was going to be Tkachuk. But I think in the end, Lindholm could be that guy. I think Gaudreau is a lock on the left wing, Monahan's a lock at center. I don't know if Tkachuk can be a right wing guy, even though he's left-handed. He's done it in the last year a bit, but I think Elias Lindholm being that right-handed shot would be a great use for that line. Monahan is a 35-35 guy. Gaudreau, his goal total can be up and down, but he's at least an 85-point guy, and I think a playmaker like Lindholm would fit those two guys very, very well. Yes, he could play center, but I think overall they're going to prefer using him on that right wing spot. So because I think, maybe not at the beginning, but he's definitely going to find his way to that top line, then 60 to 62 points, maybe give or take, is definitely in the mix for him, because I think he will share a first power play role as well. So overall, I think this could be the year we've been waiting for Elias Lindholm. New change, new start, fresh beginning, and the fact that he's going to play with elite players in Jonathan Gaudreau and Sean Monahan will definitely help his case for next year. Number 5 on the list is Bo Horvat. Now, Bo Horvat had an injury-plagued season last year, played a total of 64 games, still managed 44 points. And yes, Elias Pettersson will be there next year, but I still think he's the go-to guy to play with Brock Boeser for the whole year, to be honest. I think Pettersson will start mostly on the wing. It's been known within the organization that I think just the fact to adjust to North America hockey, making him play on the wing makes a lot of sense. But again, I don't think they waste any time giving him as much opportunity to play center as they can, but I don't think it's directly in duo with Brock Boeser next year. So that's why Horvat is my guy, and if he can stay healthy for 82 games, he can post 70 points for sure. Playing with an elite sniper like Brock Boeser, he can have a 25-50 type season, because Horvat can score a goal as well. So they're going to play a first power play together, they're going to play on 5-on-5 together. Those two will be linked together and glued together for most of the year in my mind. So this duo will be dynamic to watch. So I think Bo Horvat could be a 70-point plus guy for sure. Now at number 6 we have Alex Galchenyuk. Now of course I had to put Galchenyuk on the list. He's my personal favorite player in the whole National Hockey League. And I really think, even if I'm pissed off, sad, and a bit mad at Bergeron that he's not in Montreal anymore, but let's just get over that. And just overall, how much of a great opportunity it is for Galchenyuk to have a fresh start. I think if he can slide in a role with Clayton Keller, even if it's only on the power play, that's guaranteed a 25-30 point on the power play right there, and I think he can add a 30 to 35 at 5-on-5. So mix those up, and that's a 65 to 70 point season for Galchenyuk. He's definitely got the kill set. He's got everything to be a 65 to 70 point guy down the road. His exposure to Clayton Keller definitely helped his case here. They said they were gonna give it a try at center. Whether that is he played a second line role or ends up being in the first line left winger with Clayton Keller or the right wing, depending the way they want to go for. I think just his exposure to a new group, his exposure to a legit first power play role with Clayton Keller, Ekman Larsson, and the two others I really don't mind who plays on that power play, to be honest, will make Galchenyuk the true player that we all expect, well, especially me, that he can really become. Now at number 7, we have the player that I'm worried the Jays are of right now, Dylan Larkin. Now we could argue that Larkin had a huge breakout season last year, but nobody seems to really care because nobody is really talking about Detroit because they had a bad season and everything. But very low-key, Larkin had 63 points last year, and that's only with 9 power play points and with a very, very, very bad shooting percentage. So I think all of those numbers will go up, and Dylan Larkin could be a point per game player, sorry. So I really think 77, 78, 79 is in the mix for Larkin. On top of that, I think him and Zadina, I believe so much in that chemistry between those two guys. I don't know why, to be honest, but I just feel it. Whether he plays with Zadina or not, the numbers show themselves. He's up for a big year, and that will be in next year for sure. Another player I want to talk to you about is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, the Nuge. Now the Nuge finished the season with Connor McDavid, and he posted a point per game in his last 10-12 games, give or take. And the Oilers were really great with McDavid and Nugent-Hopkins together. And McDavid also third up at the end of the season to really explode and get that scoring title. So I think they have no choice but to start with Nugent-Hopkins with McDavid at 5-on-5 and on the power play, which didn't get most of the exposure in the previous season. So that's why this new role of Nugent-Hopkins playing that first line left winger would be huge for him. And I think 75 to 80 points is definitely something you could consider, because let's be honest, you play with Connor McDavid, everything can happen. Last two players I want to talk about. First off, Jake Guentzel. Now, Jake Guentzel, for some reason, is such a machine in the playoff. He had 21 points in 12 games, but only 48 during regular season, and that's playing a full 82-game calendar year. So I think Jake Guentzel, it was his second NHL season per se, or his first full year because he played 40 the year before. I think he's established. I think he knows the drill by now, and playing 82 games, and he's definitely going to play on that top 6, whether that is with Crosby on some nights or with Malkin on others. I think 70 points is in the make for Guentzel doing a full 82-game year. And that's even unfair for him to call him an upside, but the fact is he had 48 points last year during the regular season. Now he almost matched that, he almost matched half of that, sorry, in 12 games in the playoff. So I think just the fact that he had huge playoff, we've seen the skill set within that guy, and he's gonna play with. Now here's the thing, I don't want to say best 1-2 punch anymore because you're gonna understand why right after, but one of the top 3 best 1-2 punch in the league. Let's just put it that way to not create any controversy here. So he's gonna play with Malkin or Crosby any given night, and he can definitely be a 70 to 75 point guy for sure. And that's not even a question in my mind. Last but not least, and I've talked about these players in past video because of the recent change, is Mitch Marner. Now that's crazy to say, Mitch Marner, yeah, we know he's elite, his skill set is amazing. Fact is, he had 69 points last year, and that was a leading total for the Maple Leaf. I think he's going to lead the Maple Leaf in points next year, and that's not even a doubt in my mind. And I think he could be very, very close to 100 points. I think 92 to 95 is definitely in the mix for him, and you could call me crazy, but I think Marner will explode because he finished over a point per game average during the last 25-30 games in the season, because he was played on the 4th line at the beginning of the season, still managed 69 points. It finished amazing. He was the best player for the Leaf in the playoffs, and he's gonna play with John Tavares next year. I mean, there's not much more to say, to be honest. Marner will explode next year, and that's a guarantee. Like, I'm willing to put money on this, but I won't because I'll find a way to lose that money. But honestly, guys, Mitch Marner is definitely he's gonna have at least a 20-point increase. There's no way in my mind that Mitch Marner plays 82 games and doesn't post 90 points. Doesn't make sense to me. So there you go, guys. This is my list of 10 players that will post some huge numbers next year in terms of point totals, and at least a 10 to 20 points increase on all those guys I just mentioned. So that's why they made the list. They're gonna play a top role. All those guys are prime steal in your fantasy draft coming up in the next weeks, next months. So make sure you keep an eye on those guys because you won't regret drafting any one of them. Now, of course, some you can take earlier, like guys like Marner, etc., and guys like Lindholm could be a huge steal down the road in your draft. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry if that was a bit of a long video. I want to try a new process. There's a lot of more coming up. Honestly, if you made it that far, you're legit amazing. I love you so much. A lot more to come. My 30 and 30 is coming up in about a week or two. I'm going to post a video about every single team, so you don't want to miss that out. A lot of big plans this summer. I'm excited. I'm feeling good. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If that was the case, make sure you leave a like if you're still there. Like I said, you're awesome. See you guys later.